This is Off the Court with OG, presented by Zenni Blocks. If you've been here before, welcome back. It's good to have you again. But if you're new to the show, this is the podcast that grants you access to OG King CURT, the GM and head coach of Nets Gaming Crew, the Brooklyn Nets affiliate of the NBA 2K League. As we mentioned off the top of the episode, this show is brought to you by our friends over at Zenni Blocks. You won't find another team in the entire league more stylish on broadcast, especially when the entire league descends on Indianapolis for the NBA 2K League playoffs, and that's because our guys will be wearing Zennis. You've seen the different frames, you've seen the different styles and the lenses that the guys have rocked all season, and you can do the same as well. Armor your eyes with Zenni Blocks by visiting zenni.com/netsgc. CURT, this is episode 31 now. We're about to, embark on this exciting adventure in Indy. But before we dive into the steal, before we break down the ticket, let's talk about the week that you and the team had, with it being, the group's final week together in Brooklyn.
Man, we did a lot. You actually came into town and got the ball rolling. We recorded a podcast episode. Actually, let me reset that. You flew in, caught the tail end of the 3v3 seed week, and got a chance to capture that. We ended on a good note. And then just the rest of the week, it was just getting out, creating content, getting pictures and things of that nature. We recorded a podcast episode, got a lot of content, for a lot of different things. Of course, crew access is always moving. Spent some time on the Brooklyn Bridge, getting some good content there.
Right.
Went over to Brooklyn Bridge Park. And just overall, we just had a good time hanging out with the guys, going to a few eatery spots. I actually went to a nice pizza place, nice taco spot. So we had a really good time. I really can't think of a better week this year than what we had this week. To top it off, we went to the cap off the week. We went to the Liberty game, which is with me, Steve's, Streets, and Jaden, our regular fans at the Liberty games. As you can see, I'm sitting there, I'm rocking my New York Liberty hoodie. But had a great time there. They won. They're in the middle of a strong playoff push, so we'll be rooting them on for the remainder of the season. And then finish it off with NetsGC After Dark, which is something that we've been doing after Liberty games. We have, a ton of influencers, celebrities, different people come up and check out the NetsGC facility, have a great time, food and beverages, ping pong, and they get a chance to play on the league field that we play on. So it's just overall good time. Just, take pictures, network, and it's like I said, it's truly been a great time. So this week was just a complete blast.
Yeah, I couldn't have said it any better myself. It was very hectic, but an extreme amount of fun. There was just so much happening, so much to do, and it was just one thing after another. And again, a very hectic but fun pace. But now, the guys are in the final bye week of season 5. How important is it for the team to kind of reset and recover during this bye week before everyone has to kind of lock in this win or go home kind of environment? Or, or maybe for this particular group, would you have preferred just to get like right into it? Like, how do you guys go about that?
I think for me, I'm one of the, GMs that, I like a good R&R work balance. And I probably could have did with the bye week that we typically get around July, July the 4th, but I will take it. I think for us, it's an interesting situation because it kind of, if you take me back a season ago, making that transition from remote to live gameplay going into the playoffs, I think is a time where you really need a mental reset and getting ready for different adversities. Like we're going from remote play into live game play and the stage in Indianapolis, different environment. So I think you're gonna have to be ready for whatever comes your way. I think it can be a little redundant, consistently coming in and practicing each and every day, remote, knowing that you're about to play live on the stage. So for me personally, I kind of like how where we're at as far as getting a bye week, coming back, hopping on a plane, getting a few days, getting there. We'll have 2-3 days before we actually play. So just to get acclimated, I think the groups is the guys gonna be hungry. I think we've been battle tested this year. There's probably not too many situations we haven't seen or experienced and went through. So I think those are the right around that time is where your team should start thriving. I think we show some grit in 5v5 seed week. Let some games get away from us, and then in 3v3 seed week we show the same amount of grit. Came out of it 3-2, but easily could have been 4-1 or 5-0. So I think that, like I said, the key phrase for us is battle tested. I think there's not nothing new that you can throw at us that we haven't experienced. We just got to be ready to get over the hump when we get to Indianapolis.
Yeah, and speaking of getting to Indianapolis, by the time you guys arrive there, you'll be gearing up for the league's first ever 3v3, quote unquote ticket tournament. And this tournament is called the Steel. It's the first of its kind. And again, it's akin to what fans are accustomed to when it comes to the ticket. Same kind of environment, same kind of stuff that's on the line, that being the final playoff spot. As it stands of this recording, NetsGC is slated to take on the APAC winner, pending visas and any extra hurdles. But talk to us about where the team's mindset is right now, because you had mentioned that the team has been battle tested, both 5v5 and 3v3, but 3v3 most recently, it's, I guess really not most recently, throughout the year, it's been very up and down, a lot of ebbs and flows. And in this, the past 2 weeks during seed weeks, a couple game fives that were missed opportunities, and then a couple close calls against Dukes and Mavs. Fortunately, the team coming out on the successful side of things. But where is the team at right now, knowing this is it, right? There is no tomorrow.
I think that, we're confident. We know what we need to do. Obviously in 3v3, it's some things are out of your hands at times. A lot of fluke plays and different things like that, but it comes with that mode. I always looked at 3v3, this year as you have to be mentally tough to survive that mode. And most of the time, the team that is mentally tough wins the matchup. So for us, Jaden has been obviously a huge bright spot, but I think what really surprised me the most in the last week of seed week is that he was struggling, and Steves and Streets picked it up. And I think that's kind of been, what we've been looking for throughout the years, that like sometimes when certain players are struggling, other players stepping up, and not only on the defensive side, I think Streets and Steves does arguably, two of the best defenders in our league and in either mode.
Mm-hmm.
But it was times where we needed them on offense, and they was there for us when Jaden was struggling. So I think that's going to be huge for us going forward, knowing that the two other guys can make plays if Jaden is struggling. Far as that goes, I think, and that's going to seep over into 5v5. If you look at it, a lot of teams that earlier in the year may have been struggling 5v5, they gained a significant amount of confidence from the three players that's playing 3v3. And the Celtics is a team that stands out to me.
Yep.
Rico's done a great job over there with them being at the top in 3v3, and also they was going through a stretch in 5v5, and then towards seed week, and in the end they picked it up, and they got that bye in the ticket. So they got they got the 6th seed. So I think that's gonna be huge for a lot of teams, is just to keep that momentum from 3v3 going into 5v5, but also the teams that finish strong at the end of seed week for 3v3 going into the steal is going to be huge too.
You talk about, I want to kind of just touch a little bit more on what you had said or referred to in terms of teams having to be mentally tough. At this point of the season, in past years, it being strictly with the ticket, but now here with the steal, a majority of the teams headed into the steal have either little to some teams having no experience on the indie stage. Your squad, though, you know, you could have had more experience. You were there in the last 3v3 tournament during the switch and had a respectable run. Is there some value in, you know, having been there recently or having been there at all, especially against some of these teams that are in the same bracket as you?
I think it can be. You know, the way I like to look at it is that it's about what happens when the lights come on. It's a lot of the way I always try to tell players, nobody cares about your last game. They only care about what you're doing right now. And yeah, we will have some stage experience over some teams, but it's just about being ready for the moment. I think any team is in this league is capable of beating anybody, especially not so much more in 3v3, but in the tickets. You know, the way it's structured is one game scenario. Anybody, it's almost like one shining moment. Anybody can step up and win in that particular situation. So you got to be on your P's and Q's, and of course, like I said, it can hold some weight. You know, having that experience, but at the end of the day, it's about who's ready to react, and execute at that point of the night. And the team that does, you know, makes the most positive plays most of the time and wins the game. And I think it's gonna be real interesting, because with the hub being in Indianapolis, you're gonna have teams that's waiting for the following week. So of course they're gonna be in studio checking out the action. I think the atmosphere is gonna be pretty electric, and you're gonna see some high level 2K as usual. And I think our guys will be hungry and ready to perform. I know a lot of times, because of the way we have went about our season being, you know, kind of like a mid-tier team, and showed some flashes of us how great we can be at times. But, you know, I still got 3 rookies over here. I got 3 rookies and 2 vets.
Yeah.
And, you know, not making any excuses or anything like that, but they have to gain experience. Like, I mean, and, you know, I'm looking at guys that I need ready to grow up quick, fast, and in a hurry come the middle of August.
Yeah, this is the most exciting time of the year for not just, you know, esports, but if you're just a competitor in general. Once you get close to that finish line, it's time to lock in. Let's dive a little bit more into 5v5, NetsGC, locked into the ticket. We touched on this a little bit, Kurt, in the last episode, but the team will be taking on a very, very familiar face when it comes to playing games or high stake games in Hornets Venom GT. How fun of a storyline is this, especially with the latest and newest wrinkle to the rivalry, and that's with the swap of King Hod and Tate?
Yeah, I mean, I guess round 3, I guess is what you'll call it. You know, of course, it's no stranger to the fact that Big West is one of my, you know, closest friends. You know, before the league and forever and always. It's always interesting when it comes down to situations like this where, you know, it's a win or go home scenario. I think they too have been a team that's kind of been, you know, on the cusp here and there of being able to turn their season around, but didn't quite get over the hump. Of course, we played them back earlier in the tip off. So it's been a while. We scrimmed, of course, a time or two here and there. I think they have some players over there that's been having some good seasons. I think DJ has been playing pretty solid this year. He's also showed that he has some talent playing in other positions as well. Glenn Ratty is somebody that I think, you know, hasn't been getting talked about a lot. But I think he's done very well on both modes, 3v3 and 5v5. So he's been the constant scorer on the perimeter for them. And then of course Crown is, their anchor has been steady. And it's gonna be an interesting look. We get Swan this time. So that's gonna be interesting. But they're a solid team, and like I said, at that point of the year, it's about the team that's gonna be ready to play. And we got to get it done. I mean, it's we 1-1. It's a split. So I definitely want to leave that night 2-1 and being ready to advance further in the ticket.
Yeah, it is 1-1 in the playoffs. And for me personally, that's the only thing we should be counting. But I know Coach West loves to bring up the tournament as well and give himself the 2-1 advantage. But this is the grudge match when it comes to ending the other team's season. Should be really exciting. Should be loads of fun. Last question before we sign off, Kurt. From what you've seen in previous champions of the ticket, like Knicks Gaming, Blazer 5, what are important things that need to happen or need to fall into place to go on a deep run and win a tournament like this? Because it's not an easy task. It'll be hell game after hell game.
Yeah, I think it goes back to what I said about mental toughness. Like, I mean, literally, you're going to be playing games. For us, we're going to be playing, games potentially 4 nights in a row, and between 3v3 and 5v5. So you're going to have to love what you do at the end of the day. I mean, you grinded the game to get to this level. You've been playing it. I got 2 players that's been in the league, in their 5th season, and it's not too many things that they haven't seen or experienced. They're going to have to help will some of the young guys through, but this is where you earn your money. This is where you earn your title of being a professional at the end of the day when it comes to competing. So I think for me, I mean, it's just, I'm going to do my best to make sure we stay level-headed and focused and being able to accomplish what we're setting out to do when we get there. But overall, guys, is just going to have to fight. It's going to have to be, next play, and make plays after plays. I mean, it's just about as simple as that. I mean, when you know that it's win or go home and you don't want to go home, you have to be locked in every single second, whether it's on offense or defense. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm a full-time competitor, and I know I got some guys who are gonna have my back. Some other guys gonna have to be ready to step up and make a name for themselves. I always say this, this time of year for some players who haven't been having the best of the season, you kind of get a chance to show your worth and whether you're worth, keeping or another team picking you up in the future. So lots on the line for everybody.
I love that. Yeah, make plays or next play. That's probably going to be a caption somewhere along the way. Kurt, that does it here for us on episode 31. And man, I know, like, I can almost recall, this time last year on this show talking about how the season is weird because it's a grind, but it also goes by very quickly. And I cannot believe we are here again, approaching the finish line on Off the Court with OG for a 2nd season in a row. Any final thoughts before we sign off?
Yes, be on the lookout for the crew access with us on the practice court, shooting around. It was very entertaining. I think we all, or most of us, was pretty sore the next day. And then also we had a great time, for BSE Give Back.
Right.
We had a chance to get out into the community, help, rehab one of Brooklyn's most known parks in Prospect Park, with a lot of other BSE staff. So just great times, but be on the lookout for that content. And just keep supporting NetsGC, and we're going to do our best, compete and in hopes to bring home a championship.
Can't wait. Should be Loads of fun. This time of the year is always that. But everyone, remember to follow Nets Gaming Crew on your favorite social platform. If you enjoyed the show, give it a thumbs up and subscribe. That way, you're always one of the first to watch the content we drop and the shows that Kurt just referred to. Make sure to tune in to twitch.tv/NBA 2K League from August 10th to 11th for the steal, and then come on right back on August 12th to the 13th for the ticket as NetsGC attempts to shock the world and sweep both tournaments. On behalf of everyone that works behind the scenes over at Nets Gaming Crew, and of course on behalf of Kurt, I'm Kristian Cuaresma, and this was Off the Court with OG.